Good afternoon. It is Friday in Dallas, Texas. Yeah, we're getting a few clouds from, I believe, this hurricane is Delta, so it's been very nice, very pleasant. We're actually having a fall in Texas, which is an anomaly because usually we get one day a fall and then miserable weather for the next 3 to 4 months. In fact, the OU Texas game is this weekend, and there was a time where you could almost count on the weather going to hell. It would be cold, it would be rainy, it would be miserable. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case this weekend, which is a good thing if you are an OU or Texas fan, of which I am not. I'm an Oklahoma State fan, of which we're 3-0, which is it's a good start. Haven't really played any competition yet, but that's the way it goes. OSU will be successful when they're able to beat OU and Texas consistently year after year, and I don't see that happening in my lifetime. I looked at the stats one day of the OU OSU rivalry and how many years it would take for OSU to tie it. And I'm here to tell you, I won't live to see that because I think, let's see, I'm 60, so I'd be like 140 just for them to tie it. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay, I've held off on this for a couple of days. I wanted to let all the fur settle down and everyone's panties get out of a wad, which is really difficult in today's political climate. I watched bits and pieces of the vice presidential debate Wednesday. And I really don't understand how they even call these debate. I mean, the presidential debate, well, that was a farce. A farce on both candidates, Trump, Biden, and Chris Wallace, the moderator. I don't think he could keep a kindergarten class under control. You know, what did he do? Raise his voice once and say, I don't want to raise my voice. Well, dumbass, sometimes you just have to say, that's enough. Because the debates that I grew up with when I started getting involved in politics in the late 70s and the 80s, and I remember Carter and Reagan and Mondale, those were debates. These weren't vicious attacks from moderators or the candidates. They were in good jest. And you haven't watched any of those debates, you can go to YouTube and look them up. They're very good. Now, we started seeing a change in the debates when Bill Clinton was running against Bob Dole. And while Dole was answering a question, Bill Clinton came walking up behind him and just stood there. And it rattled Bob. It really shook him up and it gave him a bad. He just couldn't handle it. Well, that's the first time I really saw any unethical procedure during a debate. Clinton wasn't told to sit down. And then we saw Al Gore try and do it when he ran against Junior. Al tried that tactic, and Junior turned around and said, Al, can I help you? Or, when I'm done, you can come up here. So it backfired on Al. Well, since then, it's really just gone. These haven't been debates. These have been more like headhunting affairs. Now, I guess when Romney and Obama went after it, that was to a degree civil. Okay, that was all right. But then Donald Trump threw his hat in the ring, and all bets were off. Remember, Donald ran as an independent when he entered the race, if you don't remember that. And it was the RNC that called him in because they didn't want a repeat of the 92 election when Ross Perot threw his hat in the ring against Bush Sr. because he had a bone to pick with Bush Sr. And the vote was split because my dad was one. He wanted to vote for Ross Perot. I said that's a big mistake. But that's beside the point. And then the RNC, they called Donald in. He agreed. But on one condition. He's running on his platform and not the RNC's. And Trump wins in 2016, and half the country loses its mind, and the other half of the country is excited, and the division that we've seen growing since the 90s has gotten worse. It's gotten worse. Yes. Go back and look at election results. You don't take my word for it. Just go look at it. In fact, do a history of the elections and see just how tight they were and how the country has become basically 50-50 for those that vote. So Wednesday night, we have this lovely, heartfelt, wonderful debate. Yeah, I spent most of my night watching the baseball playoffs. I would flip back and forth, and I'd watch a little bit, and then I'd go to Facebook, and I'd see the comments, and it is amazing how, from what I could tell, maybe the debate was 15 minutes in, and here came all the flurry from Facebook fanatics, because that's really what it's come down to. It's not a civil debate. It's she is kicking his ass. Okay? Obviously from a liberal. And then the conservatives, whoa, he just floored her with that one. She doesn't know what to say. She's an idiot. Okay, well, that was very educational. And then when they would post this, when they did their posts, it just, you've got the pictures of Pence, and someone thought it was cute, so they got the word line on top of it. Damn it. I'll talk to him later. And then apparently The Fly was probably the biggest winner of the whole night. And one person I know had a post about the most sanitized room in the world, and The Fly finds the only POS to land on. And I was like, really? Okay. It's just, really, this is what it's come down to. And then, like I said, The Fly apparently was the big winner of the night. It was pathetic. And this is coming from, quote, adults, people that are supposed to know better, people that are supposed to have a brain, be able to dissect information and carry on a civil argument. Well, that didn't happen. Hell, it even happened to me today on Facebook Messenger. I have a little friend, and he keeps sending me this crap. And I'm like, what is the point? I don't get it. You're voting for Biden, I'm voting for Trump. Okay, that's it. There's nothing else to debate. Really? And when you look at all these comments, you can see there's nothing else to debate. And instead of sticking on point, they start coming up with all this other crap that doesn't amount to a hill of beans. In fact, I'm trying to look up a couple of little comments here that floored, just floored me. And the point of this is there was one question that was asked during the debate, and no one addressed it. Oh, and here we go. I'm doing some time for a little bit of Facebook housekeeping, and then all these people chime in. Oh, I've done it. Well, what the hell? Okay. If you just now decided to do housekeeping, then why didn't you do it before? I don't know, and I don't care. Hell, I do it randomly. It's like, okay, I don't support this. No, here's this one comment. I just wish Kamala would just say, just shut up, man. Pence isn't abiding by the rules and answering the questions posed to him. Well, there was one question asked in the debate, and it was a very important one. And I'm going to say this for the last, because this is what I got out of it. Yeah, I was watching the time. It's like, okay, they're getting ready to wind it down, so let's just see what the bobbleheads are thinking. Now, I'll say this much about Kamala. It was better that her head was going this way instead of this way. If she would have done that, we all know the reaction those conservatives would have had and the sexual innuendos and all that stuff. You could throw a little humor in there, but right now, there is no room for humor in the political arena because we, as a whole, have lost our ability to think and dissect. Okay, we know who we're voting for. There's probably 10, maybe 15% of Americans that haven't decided. And they're not going to make a decision based on all this crap they're seeing. What is it? So he will ugly cry or just sob like a baby before it's over. Well, what the hell is that? Look, I will say this much about Mike Pence. I do like him. The man has a lot of demeanor. He has composure. And God, I hope Donald takes a few cues from him if they even think about having another presidential debate, which, to be honest, you tell me, what would be the point? Is it going to change your mind who you vote for? And I'm going to say no. It's my conservative friends send me crap. And that's what it is, crap and messenger. And it's all supporting Trump. Well, I don't care. Do you get it? I don't care. You're not changing my mind. I'm not spending my hours whiling away looking at what the left has done right or what the right has done right and vice versa as far as doing wrong. I made a list. I'll probably post it one more time on why I'm voting for Trump. If you're voting for Biden, do you have a list of the pros and the cons? And this is what I did. I just waited. Pros and cons, Biden versus Trump. And I have said this many times, I wouldn't drink a cup of coffee with Donald Trump. And I probably wouldn't do a job for him. I'm in construction because I know what I would be in for. It's going to be a battle from day one. Now, if he treats the contractors right, okay, that's different. But I always gauge someone by, I'm going to do one job for you, and it's going to be a small one, and I'm going to see if you're going to pay me. If you pay me, okay, I'll look at the next job. So if the first one, say $500,000, all right, I'll look at it $1.5 million to $2 million job. But I'm just not going to throw my hat in the ring and say, hell yeah, I want to do that $150 million job and hope I get paid. I do that with everybody I work for. Because if I don't get paid, what's the point of doing the job? I don't want to go through the courts. I don't want to file liens. I don't want to go through any of this crap. Okay, I didn't mean to get off point. So back to the vice presidential debate. As I said, there was one question asked that neither candidate answered. And for me, it was the most important question and was given the less time to respond. Now let's talk about the time they have to respond. And it was just driving me nuts. Susan, what was her name? Susan Page, I think, was the moderator. 2 minutes uninterrupted. And then both candidates, I think that's a great question, blah, blah, blah. You've only got 2 minutes to answer the question. Enough of the niceties. Get to the point. I have a book called Do Your Damn Job. It's a management job that would have been perfect for both of them to use. It's like, I don't need all the fluff. Oh, thank you, thank you. And I have Harris looking in to the camera. She took a chapter out of Michelle Obama, and when she endorsed Biden and trying to play on the feelings of everybody, okay, that's fine. I understand the tactic. It's going to work on some people. It's not going to work on others, but you are on TV, and you have to act like you're talking to the audience that's viewing. I get it. Pence did it, but he directed most of his attention towards the moderator and at times to his opponent and at times to the camera, so he kind of split his time up let's just say a third of each. I liked the way he came across, composed. Did I like when he was interrupting her at times? No, you didn't need to. Let the person finish their answer. If you don't like what they're saying, you will have a time to refute it. But 2 minutes, okay. Here's an example, and this is how I look at these debates. It's what a joke. You don't need to cover every damn thing in the world. If you've got an hour and a half, we're going to come up with some solid topics, okay? And we are going to give ample time to each candidate to respond in full. It would be like George Marshall, who was chief of the army during World War II, and he's called into Franklin Roosevelt's office and Franklin says, George, you got 2 minutes to tell me how you're going to beat the Japanese and the Germans. 2 minutes. What you going to do? Well, what do you think Marshall's going to say? Well, let's see. I'm going to get as much equipment that I need, the best weapons that we have. I'm going to train 15 million men. And then we're going to go over and kick the shit out of the Germans and the Japanese. Time. Well, that's a hell of a plan, isn't it? And this is how these debates are run. You cannot give an in-depth answer on the economy, on the ecology, on the environment, on unemployment, on the deficit. You cannot get that done in 2 minutes, and I don't know when these morons are going to figure this out. These are supposed to be the geniuses of the media world, and they're not. They show it every time they get together. I mean, you watch any of these channels, whatever your preference is, I don't care, and they have a segment on that you can tell, okay, this could be a really good topic, and if you have opposing people on there to debate it, then maybe there'll be an actual debate. And every time, I just watched a little segment with, was it Brett Barr, and they were talking about other races across the country, and all of a sudden, oh, we're out of time. What the hell? How can you be out of time? Are the producers this ignorant? You don't have to cram everything that happens in the world in an hour show. You can't do it. So why don't you say, okay, these are the 4 top topics we're going to go after. Okay, and then we'll throw in some breaking news if it happens, but we are going to flesh out a full topic. We're not going to say, oh, we can't wait to have you back in 6 months. Well, you think anybody's going to remember what the hell they talked about 6 months before that? No, they're not. Hell, most people I know can't remember what they did yesterday or the day before or last week, and now you expect your viewers to remember what this panel said 6 months ago? Hell no. A bunch of dumbasses. Oh, let's see. What were some other comments? Oh, and then we had fracking. And she said this, and she said that. And just goes on, and it doesn't matter whose posts I look at. They're all the same. It's all a bunch of crap. So, my take on this whole debate was, okay, you changed nobody's mind. You realize that, right? You changed nobody's mind. And the people that haven't decided are still sitting off in like, oh my God, I've got to vote for one of these people. You know, if you watch a Caitlin Bennett video, especially her current one where she was at University of Southern Florida, it is appalling what comes out to greet her. I mean, every time I watch one of these, it's like, this is like watching the stormtroopers of the 30s come out and try and run her off. And there were several liberal people that They told her up front, hey, I don't believe everything you do. I don't believe a lot of what you do, but I will talk to you civilly. And when asked, well, what do you think of the behavior of these people? They all shook their heads and said, man, I know who I'm voting for, but is this what I want to be affiliated with? And that's a whole different topic, but this political climate is nuts. But what's fueling it? Have you asked yourself that question? What causes all of this vitriol on Facebook and Twitter? And it was actually addressed at the debate, if you didn't catch it. And it was the last question of the night, and it was the most important question of the night. And it got the less amount of time, and neither candidate really addressed it because the fallout would be horrendous. And if you haven't seen or heard the question or remember it, it came from an 8th grader, someone who is 13 or 14 years old. Pence tried to answer the question and he failed. Harris tried to answer the question and she failed. And I watched some of the fallout, analytical, bullshit, in-depth media analysis, about as good as watching sports analysts. They can be wrong 90% of the times and they still have a damn job. Brecklin Brown sent in a question. When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Dems and Republicans. Anybody here want to deny that? That's right. She's seeing this. Then she went on, when I watch the news, all I see are citizens fighting against citizens. There's a key word in each of those sentences. Have you isolated it yet? Two candidates trying to tear each other down. This is what she sees. If our leaders can't get along, how are our citizens supposed to get along? Your examples could make all the difference in bringing us together. You heard any of your news outlets address this question? If they have, I haven't heard it. If you have, leave a comment. This question from an 8th grader is more insightful than any of the shit that was asked during that debate. And when you look at your Twitter posts and when you look at your Facebook posts, look at what people are posting. They aren't thinking. They are copying and pasting. And I coined the term knee-jerkpedia because that's what we're seeing. We're not seeing anyone analytical. We aren't seeing people using reason. We're seeing mob rule on both sides of the aisle. I'm right and you're wrong, and that's it. That's all there is to it. I understand that in politics, this just goes with the territory. But with the advent of the iPhone, of Facebook, Twitter, and 24-hour news, it's called brainwashing. And this 8th grader sees it. Look in the mirror. Read your posts. And be honest with yourself. Are you being honest? Or are you just being sucked in and a mouthpiece for your party, for your news outlet? Can you be reasonable? Can you make your own deduction? Or are you going to rely on these people that claim to be the top of their game in the media, that are making millions of dollars, and half the time don't even have their facts right? And a perfect example, if you haven't seen the movie Clint Eastwood did, Richard Jewell, and I know it's Hollywood and things were hyped, but when it came to the media, you have this man who is claimed a hero, and within, say, a week, I don't know the exact timeline, and I'm not going to use what they said in the movie, they destroy him. And then he is vindicated in the end when the FBI drops their case. And then it's 3 years later when they capture Eric Rudolph, who was the Centennial bomber. But it shows how the media went after him with pitchforks and knives and destroyed him. This is what the media does. How many viewers can we get? How many papers can we sell? How many magazines can we sell? How many stories have you quoted in the last 4 or 5 years where the sources were unknown? They were never revealed. And don't give me this First Amendment bullshit. If you're going to go after somebody and you want to take them down, you damn well better back it up. We saw 3 years of a hoax impeachment. My conservative friends kept asking me, well, what do you think about the Mueller report? What do you think about the Mueller report? And my response to them was, until I read the damn thing, how the hell am I supposed to have an intelligent response? I'm not going to sit here and just parrot what I've heard on the TV like you are. And I have plenty of friends that do that. And it just pisses me off, and they know it. All research. So yes, I read the Mueller report in its entirety, and it took, 3 or 4 days. Then I could give an honest, informed opinion on the subject. And I read the Mueller's indictment in, this is 2019, in 18 on the Russian nationals. I read that one. Okay, I reserved opinion. Then I read the IG report in December of 19 on the follow-up to the Mueller report. Okay, I have all the pieces. I am informed. Now I can make a decision. This 8th grader has figured it out. Why does the news show the Dems and Republicans fighting all the time? Why do we have to have press conferences from the Speaker of the House or the Leader of the Senate day after day after day? By God, if you've got that much fucking time on your hands to run your mouth, then you're not doing your damn job. Any of it. None of you. Red, blue, white, green, yellow. I don't give 2 shits about that. If you're always on the news, then you're not getting the work done. An 8th grader figured it out. Citizen against citizen. My God, do we really want to go through 1861 again? I don't. And I sure the hell don't want martial law. I had a drop in anchor, so I had to reload it. I apologize for that. She figured it out. She's 13 or 14 years old. How can someone without a vast amount of life experiences figure out the obvious? While we adults, well, probably gonna have to change that. We'll argue with a brick wall trying to change somebody's mind that can't be changed. I have seen plenty of posts where it's like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm on a Monty Python site, and it's just, what the hell? It's being infected with political posts. You want to tell me what? It's Monty Python. It was humor. It was there were great skits. They did great movies. What is the, how in the hell have we gotten to the point where it has politics have to infect every damn thing that's going on? It is utter insanity. It's just like sports and politics. I did a video on that. They don't mix. What did I see? The NBA is now, we're not going to do any more Black Lives Matter at all because their ratings have plunged and cratered. You shouldn't have done it in the first place. Is the NFL next? We'll see. The insanity is just unbelievable, and yet a 8th grader figured it out. That is not a good commentary on us as adults who are raising children or have raised children. It speaks very lowly of us. And you might not agree with this, and that's fine. But damn it, when an 8th grader can come up with the most important question of the night and is given 1 minute to respond, my friends, that is what is wrong with our media and our ability to digest it. Because we aren't. We are taking it at face value. When a story breaks, watch your posts. It's got to be true. It's just got to be true. Bullshit. That's like me working on a construction project and someone comes in and says, well, you got to do this and you got to do it right now. Well, what's it going to take to do it? Well, it doesn't matter. You just need to get it done. Well, do I have the right equipment? Well, it doesn't matter. Well, I don't have the material. Well, it doesn't matter. Well, I don't have the right people. Well, it doesn't matter. Then what the hell matters? How am I supposed to do it if I don't have the right equipment, the right material, and the right people? It doesn't matter. Just do it. And that's the way people are digesting the news today. They aren't. They're just taking it at face value and running with it because it supports their side. An 8th grader figured it out. We should be appalled. But sadly, how many people really are? They're more interested in saying, I'm right, you're wrong, my side knows better, your side doesn't know jack shit. What happened to being reasonable, intelligent, and researching a topic before putting ourselves out there and coming across as an uneducated, illiterate moron. And that, my friends, is my take on the vice presidential debate and how an eighth grader put us all to shame.